Are the racists right when they say that Detroit's bankruptcy is due to black people? Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host Shikama, produced by Balance Enterprise LLC in association with www.lasvegasnevadadui.com. I don't really want to address the racist who say that Detroit's bankruptcy is caused by the 85% black people that live there. To my knowledge, it's, first of all, not even close to 85%. But let's really look at what is going on in Detroit. I know I went over the bankruptcy. I went over the court case declaring it unconstitutional, and they did appeal that finding that they couldn't declare bankruptcy. But and I'll say this also: I guarantee you, all the racist people talking about this is all the black people's faults are probably Democrat. That's right. The usual suspects. Now, what really happened to Detroit? Well, let's start from the very beginning. In the 1950s, you had nothing but Democrat control. So let's start right at the top on the surface. Democrat control. Let's step down from there. Democrat control. You have high taxes. High taxes, high business taxes, high corporate taxes, high high investment taxes. I don't know why this is skipping my brain. Go ahead and fill it in for me. High capital gains taxes, high income taxes, high property taxes, the highest in the nation. And I don't mean that it's the highest in percentage wise. I mean that it is corrupt the way they even assess property taxes in Detroit. So you ready for this? So instead of them saying, we're going to calculate your property taxes at 5%, 2%, 10%, whatever, they go in and assess the value of your property 3 to 4 times of the actual value, and then assess the property taxes for that valuation. It is a completely corrupt system. So what happened? Come down one tier. People left. Businesses left. Tier 1 manufacturing left. Tier 2 manufacturing left. Those are all the suppliers to the car companies. People packed up and left. The rich left first. That's the rich white people and the rich black people. Then the middle class left. That's the middle class white people and the middle class black people. And the people who did not leave are the ones who could not afford to leave. Let's take a look at some of the articles around the nation discussing Detroit. Detroit has the highest property taxes among big cities nationwide and relies on assessment that are seriously inflated. Many houses are assessed at more than 10 times their market price, according to new research from 2 Michigan professors. Detroit delinquencies are so pervasive that some owners have been allowed to keep their property even if they don't pay taxes. Wayne County Treasury officials are so overwhelmed by foreclosures that they ignore about 40,000 delinquent Detroit properties that should have been seized last year, and said they will look the other way on about 36,000 this year. Quote, "It makes me not want to pay," says Wesley, 85-year-old, who would move from her home of more than 20 years if she could afford it. If nobody else is paying, why should I? There are so many empty houses, there's nobody to pay, Wesley said. I'd like to know what is going to be the solution. The Detroit Finance Director Cheryl Johnson said the city is doing its best under the tough circumstances, and the property tax system is not broken. Quote, it is a tragedy, said Linda Bade, the city's chief assessor. We had the mortgage crisis, the auto crisis, the tier 1 and tier 2 suppliers all fled, huge unemployment. Property owners increasingly are rebuying their land in tax foreclosure auctions and legally erasing their debts. Last year, 600 properties were repurchased by their owners, triple the number in 2010. That cost the city nearly $6 million in unpaid taxes. Quote, it was a business decision, said landlord Lamont Hunter, who said the $45,400 he owed in taxes and fees were too high on 4 of his foreclosed rentals that he bought back at auction for $5,801 total. Quote, each of these houses I bought back is in bad, poor areas I wouldn't live in. I'm better off to bid. Even some banks are walking away. A 2010 Federal Government Accountability Office report found Detroit has some of the highest numbers in the nation of bank walkaways, or mortgage services who start to foreclose proceedings but then opt to abandon the properties and often their tax bills. The review found 500 houses total in 4 Detroit zip codes, including the city's northeast corner and Brightmoor, that were abandoned between January 2008 and March 2010. So that's the tax situation. You have, and the taxes run off businesses, entrepreneurs, jobs, and people with money. Now, what do you have left? I believe for a going while, the city was 60% black. Okay, you have 60 years of Democratic control of the city. 60 years. Mayor, all Democrats. City council, all Democrats. There's no voice of reason whatsoever in the city. They just got larger and larger and larger. The city was, in the 1950s, 2 million people, almost 2 million people. It is now sitting at 600,000 people, most of whom are not wealthy, are not rich, are not wealthy, are not even middle income. Those who cannot provide jobs for others. So, when the racist person says, this is all black people's fault, you can laugh and say, no, Mr. Democrat, this was all the Democrats' fault. Seriously, it was all the Democrats' fault. You have, just to keep going here, over $500 million being lost in the school system. And being lost is a euphemism for being stolen. $500 million. You have another $500 million or more being stolen by the mayor and the city council. You have emergency services cut by 50%. Now, I don't know if that's 50% cut was in keeping with the size of the city, because you don't need services for 2 million people when there's only 600,000 people. But they said the services were cut by 50%. Emergency call response time is over 20 minutes. We're talking about police, fire trucks, and ambulances. 20-minute response time. Police not showing up at all. Fire trucks, I don't know if they didn't show up, or more than likely the EMT part is not showing up. Ambulances not showing up at all. Now, a lot of people complain, well, there are people who are calling the emergency trucks for no reason. But I'm sure that is also factored into regular other cities, that people are going to call emergency services for things that are not emergencies. We see videos, funny videos of it, of people, crazy people doing that on YouTube all the time. So I'm sure in every city you have crazy people calling emergency services for things that are not emergencies. So that's not an excuse. That shouldn't even come up as a valid argument. And I don't know, what is the valid argument for? Is it saying that they should go door to door beating people over the head to make sure they don't call emergency services when there's no emergency? The truth of the matter is, Detroit is in the situation that it is in due to Democrats. That's both white and black. Hello. I said in my financial video, in my money videos, that the black people have a buying power of $1.1 trillion. And what would I do with the $1.1 trillion instead of giving it to corporate America? I would buy Detroit. I would buy Detroit, fire every single person in the local government, in the city government. Fire them all. Every single one of them. I would put out for hire signs an entire 2 months beforehand. I would then, and I would call for people to serve as advisors from other successful cities around the nation, to serve as consultants and advisors for each supervisory position of each service in the city. So completely new blood with actual proven capability from people who can do it. I'd buy the city out. I would wipe out the pension. I would wipe out anything union. You couldn't be in a union whatsoever working for taxpayers. No. Doesn't even make sense. It doesn't compute. This is a government. This is not a mom and pa's store. Mom and pa stores you can negotiate and try and no threat of you walking out, of you what are fire trucks going to be allowed to walk out and go on strike? Are ambulances are going to be able to go on strike? Are police going to be able to go on strike? No unions whatsoever. Not for city. Not for city. Private industry, knock yourself out. Because you can get a lawyer, you can do all this stuff, and it's not crucial to anything. City, no unions whatsoever. I would wipe it all out. I'll wipe it all out. And it would be a lean, mean fighting machine. It would be able to service 500,000 residents only. Now, I know that there's 600,000. The news keeps reporting 700,000, but my documentation says 600,000. I would have a lean, mean fighting organization. And I would give bonuses to those who could make it even more efficient. All the way up to early retirement. In fact, I wouldn't offer retirement. Working for the city should not be the means to an end, i.e. a retirement. You should work for the city as a brief civic duty. That's it. We need to get back to the civic duty being something that is a chore and not a voluntary thing, not a voluntary wanted thing. Paying a janitor $60,000 a year, I don't care what a great guy he is. I should not steal money from lower class people who can't pay property taxes and pay some guy $60,000 a year. People can't even, they don't have lights on the street. They don't have lights on the street. They have abandoned houses. They have a complete abandoned whole blocks. And I mean giant city blocks. Whole blocks completely abandoned. And then sections of town abandoned for miles and miles and miles. They have wild dogs. They have bears. They have beavers in the city. This is Democrats. This is not black people. Black people don't abandon Fortune 500 buildings. I don't know if you check, except for a few CEOs here and there in the Fortune 500 companies as CEOs. Black people aren't down to owning Fortune 500 companies. So, is it black people's fault about Detroit? Hell no. And black people weren't even in control, and we're talking about control. I'm talking about actually having control. City Hall control. Legislation control capability. Haven't had it for even that long. We're talking 60 years. Do you think black people really stormed City Hall in 1950? Why did you say color? I mean, I know it makes no sense, and I really shouldn't address it, but it's Democrats. It's Democrats, Democrats, Democrats. If you don't have city lights working, if you don't have ambulances showing up, I'd fire every single one, and I'd get brand new everything. I would completely gut the tax system, gut it, because I'm not going to need that many taxes for services that service 500,000 people, 500,000 residents, and making sure and giving bonuses to people who make their positions more efficient, not less efficient. That's how you run a city. That's what I would do in Detroit, and I would. In the bankruptcy, I would give pennies on the dollar to everybody, except for the bondholders, I guess. The bondholders I'd give 100% to. Why? Because the bondholders did absolutely nothing. They, in good faith, purchased bonds. We said that we were going to pay them back their bonds. Now, the banks and stuff like that, unless they're, except for the bond part, I would give pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. Why? Because they don't even need the money. They're not really working with the city to begin with. A lot of them are already suing and trying to hold out for more. And the pension, no. And people say, well, we put in the time. No, you went to work. You went to work. You didn't pay money. Those benefits were promises. That has nothing to, and I wouldn't offer any benefits to any city. It should be a chore. You should hate working for the city. It should be a position of last resort. I can't work at 7-Eleven. Let me go work for the city. I can't work at McDonald's. Let me go work for the city. Meaning, I can't get hired at 7-Eleven. I can't get hired at McDonald's. And as a last resort, okay, let me go work for the city. It should be a chore. It should not be a means to an end. I wouldn't offer anything. Nothing. That's the whole reason we are in trouble now. Because you start offering benefits, you offer this, and the other, and people make their jobs less and less efficient. and service people less and less. Meaning, if the person comes through the door into the office and says, I would like, yeah, whatever, take a number. Shut up, sit down. Oh, you're giving me smack? Security, get her. They don't do that at banks, do they? If you walk into a 5-star restaurant, what do you expect the service to be? They make their positions less efficient, more bureaucratic, more red tape, and then they invite their family and friends to apply for more openings, and they create more openings. Oh, we can't do the function of 20 people with just 20 people. We need 25. Oh, we can't do the function of 25 people with 25 people. We need 30. And that's one department, 2 departments, 500 departments. I would gut it all. I would gut it all, revamp everything, and start over. It was a Democrat. LBJ set it up as a Democrat laboratory for funneling huge sums of money into the city. So that's what they're also used to. That is gone. That day is over. Anyway, this was my not response to racist about Detroit. I wanted to really give a real clear picture about Detroit. Now, can I blame the black people who are living there? Yes, I can. I can blame the black people who are in City Hall, who are in, who's the mayor. When they called in the Wall Street debt consolidator or emergency manager, who happens to also be black, they fought tooth and nail against him. They were like, well, we're not going to lose our job. And he was like, well, I'm just a lawyer, lawyer, accountant, financier. I'm not here to fire anybody, but I'm going to take care of business. And they fought him all the way. Why? Crony, capitalism, graft, the whole 9 yards. They learned very well from their white predecessors, because white people did it too. So this is obviously not a black thing. Take a look at Chicago. And they fought him tooth and nail, did not cooperate with him. And so finally he said, okay, I give up. Time for bankruptcy. It's time to take this to the final stage. Because they wouldn't work with him. They wanted to have their cake and eat it too. I don't even understand. When you call the emergency manager, which I believe is unconstitutional anyway, first of all, because nobody elected him. It's unconstitutional under the Michigan Constitution, under the federal government Constitution. I don't, maybe the federal government, the U.S. Constitution doesn't speak on it, but I think it's in keeping with the notion that you just don't do that. You don't call somebody in that was not elected, has absolutely no ability to be sacked, fired by the public. Because let's think for a second. Let's say this guy wasn't as honest. This guy is pretty honest. Kevin Orr, he's pretty honest. He's by the book honest. He tried and tried and tried. I'm sure for him this was nothing, because there was absolutely no money to be had in this situation. So maybe everybody would be honest. But let's say he wasn't honest. Let's say hypothetically Jim Schmo comes in, and Jim Schmo has all sorts of ties in Detroit, and he funnels billions of dollars. The taxpayer has absolutely no say in the matter. Has nothing. They just get fleeced, just like the politician that they elect anyway. At least, well, a politician that you can elect, you can unelect. You can repeal, impeach, what have you. But thankfully, Kevin Orr was actually honest, or is an actual honest guy, and actually did his job. He did exactly what the governor called him in to do. And the black Detroit City Council and the black mayor, I think the mayor tried to assist, but the city council was not having it, and he had to go to bankruptcy. Yeah, I blame them, and I blame all of their predecessors, but I blame everybody. It's not just this city council. This is 60 years in the making. I'm not excusing the city council now. I'm saying this is 60 years in the making. Whatever this council did, a drop in the bucket. Literally a drop in the bucket. And nobody wants to give. The union, the local government union doesn't want to give. And I gotta have my health care, my health benefits. I've got to have my retirement benefits. I've got to have my me. The city is dying. You have murder at an all-time high. Murder at an all-time high to such a degree, I don't know if it's the highest in the nation, but I'm sure it's pretty up there. I haven't taken a look, but I'm sure it's pretty up there. And all of these people, me. $9 billion in benefits that the city is obligated to pay to the unions. I'd wipe that out. I'd wipe it all out. I know, oh, you're so callous, blah, 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 blah. But you know what I would put in place of it? I would open up every single, every 2-3 miles, a place where people could go and get preventative medicine. They don't want holistic medicine. I would bring holistic medicine to Detroit. I would have people on mandated healthy eating, a mandated diet, vegetable and pure meat diet. They could not eat at McDonald's. if they wanted to benefit from me, and that would be the benefit, is that they go to that place. And the place says, this is what you have to do to get any benefits out of this place. And that's it. And they would hate it because it would be friggin' Nazi-style healthcare. We don't want to see you, so you better be healthy. And if we have to treat you, it better be something like the lawnmower cuts your foot off or something like that. None of this chronic whatever. That means you're eating at McDonald's. You're eating GMO foods. Not having it. Next. I know people say, oh, you're so callous. I eat right. I work out. I do my swimming. I take my walks. I do all this. I do push-ups. I do sit-ups, squats. I lift weights. Whatever I can to stay healthy. To stay healthy. I mean, it's called a healthy lifestyle. Why is it called a healthy lifestyle? Because it keeps you healthy. It keeps you healthy. You don't end up with a cane or a walker or a scooter at the age of 55. I don't care what your genes are. I don't care how terrible your genes are. Healthy eating, healthy lifestyle. That's what that's the only benefit they would get from me. It would have to be a catastrophic health insurance. That's it. That's all you would get. Somebody ran into my house with their Ford truck, and I got pinned against the wall. Okay, come on in. I'm having headaches. Drink some water and eat some vegetables for a week. No dairy, no grains for a week. Then give us a call. That's what I would dispense out to these government workers. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Share this video with all the racists that you know. Share them. Shut them up. Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show. Like my video and subscribe. I have an ongoing prize for reaching 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching Shikama Live.